When it comes to Peter Capaldi's run as the Doctor, picking the absolute worst story feels like the mental gymnastics of choosing between food poisoning and paying to get it. It's that bad a choice. The options are Kill the Moon and In the Forest of the Night. Two stories so uniquely frustrating that it's a tough call, but after much deliberation I've finally landed on In the Forest of the Night, which frankly serves no real purpose beyond reminding us that not every episode can be a gem. This one, however, doesn't even come close. It's the worst of the lot, and I will never revisit this festering pile. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Demon, and today we're tackling In the Forest of the Night, a story so misguided, it's hard to believe it ever made it past a draft. This episode is set up with what sounds like an intriguing concept on paper. Clara, Danny, and a group of Coal Hill students on an overnight school trip wake up to find Earth completely covered by an enormous forest. As if that weren't strange enough, one of the students, Maeve, appears to have some kind of telepathic connection to the woods, and hears voices that lead her to the Doctor in Trafalgar Square. The Doctor quickly figures out that something is wrong, but the story only spirals further into absurdity from there. The group learns that Earth is due to be hit by a giant solar flare, and Maeve, guided by strange voices, takes them to learn about the forest's true purpose. As it turns out, the trees have miraculously appeared to shield Earth from the flare, an environmental deus ex machina that's never explained or even rationalized in any meaningful way. From here, the episode stumbles through a series of odd choices. The Doctor offers to take everyone away in the TARDIS, only to be turned down by Danny, Clara, and the students who all insist on staying to face doom together. Eventually, Maeve communicates with these forest spirits who reveal they've been protecting Earth as they did during events like the Tunguska explosion. The Doctor hacks into the global network, broadcasting a message through Maeve to tell everyone on Earth not to interfere with the trees. And just as quickly as the forest appeared, it conveniently vanishes after the solar flare. Now, let's get into why this is bottom-tier Doctor Who. First off, the plot meanders with no real urgency or development, coming across as a haphazard sequence of events rather than a cohesive story. The script tries to paint the episode as a fable, but any moral it tries to convey about protecting nature is lost in a confusing, garbled mess. Clara and Danny's involvement feels forced, as if they were shoehorned into the story without much purpose or direction. And don't get me started on Maeve and her bizarre gift. She's a plot device with no explanation other than she hears voices, and her communication with the trees feels completely nonsensical. The worst part, though, is how this story essentially tells us that humanity will simply forget about a forest that covered the entire Earth. Yes, it just ends with the Doctor claiming that people will forget because that's apparently what we do when something weird happens. As if that weren't bad enough, the reunion between Maeve and her lost sister Annabelle, while intended to be touching, feels utterly disconnected from the story and lacks any emotional weight, leaving us more bewildered than moved. It's almost impressive how In the Forest of the Night manages to waste its premise, deliver no significant character development, and offer nothing to the overall season. For an episode in one of the show's most beloved franchises, it's an embarrassing display of disjointed writing and lackluster execution. So here we are. I've waded through this episode so you don't have to, and believe me, it's one to skip. Could it get any worse than this? Probably not, but let's hope Doctor Who doesn't try to find out. I'm Snake Demon, and this has been The Snake Pit, Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them.